Magic, magic, magic. Every day there's magic in big and tiny ways. The parking space that opens up for you right in front of a busy street and a busy store. The friend who you haven't spoken to in years who suddenly calls and your friendship leaps back into full bloom. A financial windfall just when you need it. And the magic of nature, the sunrise, the sunset, the wind, all magic bright, white magic, the kind that fuels the soul. Oh, and little itty bitty magic, fairies, elves, magic abounds running rampant in your garden. My dad loved otherworldly magical things. He loved art, music, and poetry, and he regularly incorporated the non-linear aspects of the world into the lives of his two daughters. Although my dad never graduated from high school, he got expelled 2 weeks before graduation. A kid had dared him to paint the famous stone lion gargoyles of Flushing High School a bright blood red, and he did. But my dad was smart, well read, and a successful businessman. As a kid, I remember my dad calling my sister and me into the living room after dinner one evening, and he said, "I've memorized a poem. I think you girls will like it, and I'm ready to recite it to you now." My sister and I love these ad hoc performances. The poem is called "The Village Blacksmith" by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, he said, and in a deep, passionate, booming voice he began, "Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands, and the muscles of his brawny arms are strong as iron bands." The poem continued, and his rendition so moved me. I mean, while I was caught up in fantasies about being famous, here my dad was doing a tribute to an ordinary man with an ordinary job. My dad had a knack for teaching important lessons in unique ways. Oh, my dad could envelop you in his magical ways, which brings me to his bird, Oscar. Oscar, as Dad explained, was a beautiful exotic bird. There was only one in the whole world, approximately the size of a parakeet. Oscar had a rainbow of feathers, green and yellow, pink and red, and various shades of blue. Now, my sister and I couldn't confirm Oscar's beauty because Oscar was invisible. Oscar was my dad's friend and could only be seen by my dad. Diana and I would be spellbound as Dad talked about Oscar and how the magical bird watched over my sister and me each and every day, reporting back to my dad on our every move. Now, of course, later we would discover that my parents talked throughout the day and my mom filled in my dad on all events, great and small, in the lives of his girls. But we truly believe the all seeing, talking Oscar was the source of my dad's information, and we both loved and feared Oscar. On most nights, as we were finishing dinner, Oscar would make an appearance, or rather, a non visible appearance. "Joanna, Oscar's outside the kitchen door. Can you let him in?" Dutifully, eagerly, I would open the door. "Did he fly in, Daddy?" "Oh, yes," my father would say. "He's right here on my shoulder." And my dad would coo and kiss the invisible bird. What, my dad would say, cocking his head and listening intently. Diana got 100% on her history test. Diana was beaming. And Joanna? He would look like he was listening again and then say, "So, she was well behaved today. Good job, Joanna. Can I hold him? Can I hold him? Please, please," I would beg. "Okay, but don't forget you need to finish your dinner." And I would dutifully put out my left finger and wait for Oscar to arrive. And I would hold up my finger as I used the other hand to eat. Our adventure with Oscar lasted many years. My mother was usually doing the dishes or downstairs in the basement doing the laundry, and I asked her many years later why she didn't stay for Oscar's visit. "Well, Joe, The fact is, I was always laughing so damn hard, which is why I often went to the basement. It was so damned adorable and funny at the same time. I get that now. My memories of my dad are filled with these magical events and one magical dream. It happened after he died. It was 1984, and I dreamed I was in the shower of my Hollywood apartment when a phone started ringing. I looked down, and there on the side of the bathtub was a shiny white pearl phone. And picking it up, I put the receiver to my ear, and I heard, "Hi, Joe, it's Dad." "Christ, Dad, you're dead." "I know I'm dead, Joanna. Now listen, I'm in Philadelphia." I screamed and I dropped the phone into the tub water, and I could hear my father's voice gurgling up at me, distorted by the water. He was annoyed. "God damn it, Joe, pick up the phone. I need to talk to you. I'm in Philadelphia." I was shaking. I picked up the phone, and my father says, "Good. Now listen, I know I'm dead, but I'm trying to tell you something. I'm in Philadelphia. That's where my spirit went. It's a lovely city. The city of brotherly love. Now, here's the important part. If you ever need me, think Philadelphia, and I'll be there for you." And the phone line quit. I stood shaking in the shower. I got out, dried off, and laid down on my bed, and then I woke up. The dream was so vivid. I've never forgotten it. It was like yesterday. Years later, I'm traveling alone in Sicily. I'm in this beautiful city of Cefalù and I get lost. I got completely lost and I couldn't find my way back to my place. And I felt a wave of panic. I was alone. I didn't speak Italian. And the last light of sunset was quickly fading. And I prayed for help. And I looked up and there was a restaurant. I read the letters on the sign: Philadelphia. Philadelphia. It was Philadelphia in Italian. And suddenly, I felt the presence of my father, his daddy arms around me. "Which way, Daddy?" I asked. I looked around and saw the light from inside the restaurant shining on one part of the street. "Is that it, Daddy?" And I just knew it was. And I took that route, and within minutes, I was back to my room. My dad is a ghost that I welcome in my world. Oh, and one last magical dad thing. When I was a kid, my dad would take my sister and me to the front door of our house at night and say, "I'm going to open the door, and you girls step out and look up into the sky, and the first star that catches your eye, you make a wish. Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might have this wish I wish tonight." Good night, Daddy.